This Bandera Coaches Show is brought to you by Coconut Cowboys, located at 410 Main Street right there in Bandera. They have specialty and boba teas. They have snacks. They have candy. They have a gift shop. They have coffee. They have vacation rentals. They have tea. They have it all. So check out Coconut Cowboys if you're in Bandera and tell them that Sideline to Sideline and S2S sent you. A tough loss for the Bulldogs. Hello, everybody. Terry Bennett here on the Bandera Football Show, brought to you by Coconut Cowboys right here on S2S Sports, part of L4 Media. As the Bulldogs fall in the rivalry game 37-25. But I'm telling you what, man, this is one of those games where, yeah, they lost, and I know it sucks to lose a rivalry game, but I think there's a lot of growth in this game. I mean, this is a game where you still had an offense that put up points at 450 yards, had some turnovers. They got to fix that, of course. And then special teams, just a couple missed plays on special teams. And I was talking to Coach before we recorded. I actually meant to put it in the show, and I forgot to. Man, I think a kickoff return right after you score a touchdown is one of the biggest gut punches there are in football, maybe all of sports, because you're still over there celebrating, you're still talking, you're high-fiving, you're starting to get the defense ready to go, you're fired up, you've just scored, and then boom, that point basically just gets nullified in one play. And I thought Bandera to come back from that and to come back from trailing 27-12 at half and making it a game, I think that shows what this team can do. And also for the knocking of the special teams, give the special teams credit, as the second half kickoff, Bandera basically got an impromptu onside kick after Maverick Short hit the ball off of a Hondo player, and it was recovered by Bandera. Immediately, Bandera scores a touchdown. Jeffrey Thomas, the sophomore wide receiver, on the 41-yard touchdown catch from Jesse Cardenas. I mean, that right there is answering back. And then they made it 27-25 after another big play through the air. So, again, you see some of the positives of like the pass offense, and then some of the negatives were the turnovers. Some of the positives of the special teams was the onside kick, but giving up the kickoff return for a touchdown, missing extra points, things like that, that was the negative. So you kind of saw both in this game. And as Coach talks about in the interview, I think this was such a playoff-like atmosphere. That's how you learn from this. So, again, it's a tough loss, but at the end of the day, that loss does not matter when it comes to the playoffs. And that right there is what Bandera's goal is. You want to win the rivalry games, yeah, but you want to make the playoffs most importantly. This week, they're taking on a 4A team in Robstown who basically returns everybody from last year's 3-7 team. They're a little older, and I think they think that they're going to be better this year. We'll have to see. They did start the year off losing 3 in a row. They've since won 2 in a row. They're 2-3 on the year. They have a really good quarterback in Derek Silva, a really good wide receiver in Joe Luna and Timothy Sanchez. They're going to score, or they're going to try to score. I guess everybody tries to score. They're going to be an up-tempo offense, and Coach talks about that. And they're going to try to fling the ball around. They're going to try to make plays. Defensively, I think they're solid, but they're not. I think Bandera has an offense that can put some points on the board against them. I think this will be a fun game. So what we're going to do is what we do each and every week. We're going to talk to the head coach of Bandera, Coach Joe Fontenot-Amity, and we're going to do that when we come back right here on the Coconut Cowboys Bandera Football Show on S2S Sports, part of L4 Media. Is your demanding work lifestyle in need of fire-resistant clothing that can keep up? Well, L4FR clothing should be your go-to for quality, affordability, safety, and style. L4FR was founded by a third-generation oil field worker who is also a veteran. Thus, this company has a deep appreciation for reliability and longevity, all while we provide first-rate customer service. Our durable apparel will serve you well for many years to come, whether you're working on a pipeline, a lineman climbing utility poles, or in any other environment requiring fire-resistant apparel. L4FR has you covered. Our apparel is tough enough to resist hazardous conditions while still providing high comfort and style. L4FR provides clothing options to ensure your safety and comfort, whether you're on the job or not. To view our complete inventory of flame-resistant garments, please visit our online store at l4frclothing.com or give us a call at 817-757-4935. Si habla español. Everybody back here on the Coconut Cowboys Bandera football show. Now joined by the head coach of the Bulldogs, Coach Joe Fontenot-Amity. And, Coach, tough loss last week against Hondo, but what a great game. Your thoughts?
Man, an unbelievable game and atmosphere. I want to thank everybody in Bandera County for coming out and packing the stands on our side with Bandera Blue. It really wasn't a tale of two halves. First half, we played about as bad as we could, including a lot of special teams errors and not finishing up in the red zone and turnovers and just a lot of unforced errors. And then our kids came back in the second half and really, for the most part, played really good football in the second half and fought and showed what kind of team we have eventually heading into district play. So disappointed with the loss, but excited about what the future holds. And this game's on our schedule for a playoff-type atmosphere, and we had that, and it was a great game.
Yeah, you talk about what y'all did offensively, 246 yards on the ground. You had, 177 through the air, couple of turnovers. But at the end of the day, as you said, the special team mistakes just caught up to you.
Yeah, they did, and we've really refocused on that. It's always interesting doing this interview. I say it every week, but by the time we get to Wednesday or Thursday, and I've pushed it so far back that it's always interesting talking and going and kind of reliving it. But the special teams, it cost us the ball game 100%. You look at a 16-point differential in points through special teams, whether it's a PAT missed or a field goal missed, a field goal made for them, kickoff return for a touchdown. And our guys and coaches really locked in on special teams this week. Ultimately, we have an opportunity to get better, and that's what we're going to do this week. Well,
and you and I were talking, I know you don't want to lose to Hondo, a rivalry game, but it's a non-district game, and the non-district is for learning and kind of figuring things out, and you want it to be unbeaten and all, but I don't think this is necessarily a bad loss 2 weeks before district starts.
It's hard because I want to say, there's no loss is a good loss, but like I said, man, we're going to when we go out to compete, we want to win. And especially when we play Hondo. But, there's a great learning curve when you play playoff type football and young kids, and we're playing a lot of sophomores right now. A lot of young kids got to get out there and see what that atmosphere is and experience that before the games count, so to speak. So a lot of good's going to come from the loss is what I would say.
All right, well, this week you're taking on the Robstown Cotton Pickers, a team that's 2-3, but they have won their last 2 games in a row. This isn't an experienced team. I think they returned 20 starters from last year's squad. When you look at the film, what do you think of Robstown?
They do a great job offensively. They tempo. They've got a lot of receivers who are pretty explosive. The quarterback does a good job getting them the football, and they're big up front on both sides of the ball. So he's done a great job. Transition from last year to this year, and I think we'll probably win a lot more than 2 games this year. So,
when you're playing a game that's right before district, and of course y'all have a bye next week, but right before district, is there any type of okay, if we get up or if we get down, we want to pull some guys and rest them up, or are you still just treating this as a normal regular game?
No, we got next week to rest up. We're going to go play football.
Here at L4 Media, we talk high school football, 4A, 3A, and 2A in Texas. We talk East Texas sports. We talk NFL, guy talk, movie and booze. We also talk wrestling and so much more. And you can see it all on our YouTube channel at L4 Media Company. Like and subscribe. Here at L4 Media, we talk high school football, 4A, 3A, and 2A in Texas. We talk East Texas sports. We talk NFL, guy talk, movie and booze. We also talk wrestling and so much more. And you can see it all on our YouTube channel at L4 Media Company. Like and subscribe. As always, we want to thank the head coach, Coach Joe Fontenot-Amity, for joining us here on the Coconut Cowboys Bandera football show. Now, next week, there's a bye. So we will not have Coach Fontenot-Amity. I am trying to coordinate with Coconut Cowboys about maybe doing a volleyball show next week, doing it then. We're just having a hard time connecting on the timing of it. It's really hard. He's running a full-time business. I'm doing 25 shows a week. So we're just trying to find the time when to connect on that. And I think next week would be perfect with there being a bye week. And then Coach Fontenot-Amity will be back with us the next week when district play starts. In fact, before we go, Let's talk a little 14-4A Division 2. Just kind of wanted to update everybody on where everybody is in the standings. Of course, Bandera is 4-1. Pearsall, the Mavericks, they're 4-1. Last year they were 7-4, and they returned 12 starters back from that team, and they've started off hot. Their only loss was to San Antonio Cole, 29-28. Of course, we all know how good Cole is, as Bandera beat them earlier in the year, 35-28. And then you have Divine. They're 3-2. Now, Divine's going through some injuries, but I thought they had a really good win last week against a very good Uvalde team, 28-24. They lost to the same Hondo team that Bandera just lost to by 35-27. They lost 44-6. Again, though, they had injuries, and I'm not sure how healed up they're going to be going into district play. It'll be interesting to see. Then you've got San Antonio YMLA. They're 3-2 on the year. They lost to San Antonio Sam Houston. They beat this Robstown team 34-33. So a good calibration game this week. They also lost to Manor New Tech, Falfurious. They've lost two 1-point games, a 6-point game, and a 7-point game. So when you look at them, you're going to get a 1-possession game. It looks like they take on Holy Cross out of San Antonio this week. They'll start district next week against Divine. So that's a little catch up on where all the teams are. Oh, Carrizo Springs, Carrizo is 2-3. They started out 0-2. They've won 2 of their last 3. They've got Ingleside this week. That's going to be a tough one for them. But that is where 14-4A Division 2 stands before district play starts next week for most teams. But for like Bandera, they're off. They'll start in 2 weeks when they take on Pearsall on the road. That's going to be a great way to start district. A Pearsall team, like we just talked about, a lot back from a 7-4 team. They feel that they have a chance in this district. You've got to feel everybody feels they have a chance for the district championship in this one. I know Divine and Bandera were kind of the favorites, and I still think, Bandera definitely is. But everybody's got to feel good about themselves going into the district play. So it's going to be interesting to see how 14-4A Division 2 breaks down, and we're going to be here for all of that. I'm so ready for district play. Coach and I were talking about that last week. These are smaller districts, man. It's just like, I'm ready for district. September is non-district. October 1st should be district play. You should be rocking and rolling. But, hey, that's the way it works when it comes to realignment. Any questions, thoughts, or comments for the coach or for me? All you got to do is email them to me, Terry@S2Ssport.com. You can also listen to Sideline to Sideline, the Class 4A show that Grant Goodwin and I do each and every week, brought to you by SI Design and Printing. We also do a 3A and a 2A show, but I figured, Bandera being in 4A, I would lead with the 4A so you can check out what's happening across the state every week in 4A football. Again, thanks to our sponsors, Coconut Cowboys, and thanks to everybody that's been listening. We've been getting great feedback for this Bandera show, and it's been an absolute blast. And we'll be back in 2 weeks for sure for football. Be checking for next week. We're going to try to work out something to finally get that volleyball show done. And until then, I'm Terry Bennett, and this has been the Coconut Cowboys Bandera Coaches Show on S2S Sports, part of L4 Media.